Miss,
Yes, please.
we're now live.
Okay. You may proceed either at the podium or seated.
I'll stay seated, Your Honor, so
Okay,
everyone can
please
hear me.
proceed as you wish. What is the negotiated plea?
Your Honor, this is a plea on the re-indictment of 22 SC 185015, the state versus Joshua Kolb. It is for a total sentence of 30 years. For it to be legal, it is the count one is being amended to voluntary manslaughter, but it is still a 30-year sentence. Now, Mr. Cole, would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear and affirm that the testimony you shall give in the matter currently before this court is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I swear.
Okay, you may lower your hand. Can you please state for the record your full legal name?
Joshua Ryan Cole.
And are you at this time taking or under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, or medicine?
No.
Is there a medication that you normally take for any
No.
condition that you have not been given today?
No.
How old are you and how far have you gone in school?
21.
And how far did you go in school?
I ain't graduate.
What grade did you finish?
I don't know.
Okay. Did you go to high school?
Yeah.
Okay. Freshman, sophomore year, what's the last year you remember?
You don't know?
I ain't been in school in like 6 years. I
Okay.
don't know.
Okay. Are you able to read, write, and understand the English language?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you understand that you have been charged with the following offenses? Count 1, murder, which is amended to voluntary manslaughter. Count 2, felony murder, which vacates by operation of law. Count 3, aggravated assault. Count 4, possession of a firearm or knife during commission of or attempt to commit certain felonies. And count 5, criminal damage to property in the second degree in indictment number 22 SC 185015-01.
Yes.
And do you understand that you have the right to plead either guilty or not guilty to these charges? And if you plead not guilty or remain silent, you may receive a jury trial.
Yes.
Have you had enough time to speak with your lawyer, Mr. Walker, about all the facts and circumstances known to you regarding the charges in this indictment, including any potential defenses?
Yes.
Do you need more time to discuss the case with your attorney?
No.
Are you satisfied with his services?
Yes.
Counsel, do you waive formal reading of the indictment?
So waived.
And do you waive any and all defects in the indictment, including any with respect to your client's name, though the state knowing none?
So waived.
Now, Mr. Cole, for the record, I have to ask, have you been arrested on the charges that were read out in this indictment?
Yes.
And the state is unaware of any outstanding warrants related to these charges. Do you or your attorney know of any outstanding warrants that are related to these charges?
None.
Has your attorney advised you of the minimum and maximum sentence for each charge you are pleading to? That being,
Yes.
okay. For the record, I will go through those. For count 1, voluntary manslaughter, that carries a sentence of 1 up to 20 years to serve. Count 2, felony murder, vacates by operation of law. Count 3, aggravated assault, carries 1 year up to 20 years to serve. Count 4, possession of a firearm or knife during the commission of or attempt to commit certain felonies, carries a mandatory 5-year sentence. That 5 years to be served, or that 5 years to follow consecutively to any other sentence in the indictment. And count 5, criminal damage to property in the second degree, carries anywhere from 1 year up to 5 years to serve. Do you understand that as the minimum and maximum sentence for each charge you are pleading to?
Yes.
Now, do you understand? Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And for the record, that is the sentence that aggravated assault, count 3 carries. It does merge as a matter of law into count 1. And is that what you understood from the explanation from your attorney, Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Okay. Now, do you understand that this is a negotiated plea of guilty, which means that the state will recommend a sentence to the court? That sentence has been agreed upon by you, your attorney, and the state. However, the court does not have to accept that recommendation. The court can sentence you up to the maximum on each charge and can run those sentences consecutively or one after the other. Do you understand that?
Yes.
For the record, for count 1, voluntary manslaughter, that would carry a sentence of 20 years to serve. Count 2 would vacate by operation of law. Count 3 would merge into count 1. Count 4, possession of a firearm or knife during the commission of or attempt to commit certain felonies, carries 5 years. That 5 years to be consecutive to both counts 1 and counts 5 in this indictment. Those 5 years to be suspended. And count 5, criminal damage to property in the second degree, 5 years to serve. That 5 years to be served consecutive to count 1 for a total overall sentence of 30 years. Do you understand that sentence?
Yes.
I know, caller. And do you understand that the court can, or excuse me, do you understand that this is a guilty plea which is permanently recorded on your criminal history?
Yes.
And do you understand that this plea may be used to enhance sentencing on other convictions in this jurisdiction as well as in other jurisdictions, including the federal courts?
Yes.
Do you understand that if you are currently on probation or parole, the state not having any record of that, but if you were, your probation or parole may be revoked based on your entering a guilty plea today?
Yes.
And do you understand that if you are placed on probation of any kind, you cannot violate any criminal laws of any governmental unit or any special conditions of probation without being subject to the revocation for the balance of your sentence?
Yes.
And do you understand that you are not allowed to possess or use a firearm while on probation?
Yes.
Are you a United States citizen?
Yes.
And do you understand that neither the court, nor your attorney, nor the district attorney's office has anything to do with parole, the Department of Corrections, or the Board of Pardons and Paroles, and no one can guarantee parole no matter what anyone has told you?
Yes.
Do you understand that there may be other adverse or unfavorable consequences as a result of this guilty plea conviction, just as there would be from a conviction following a trial? For example, your guilty plea may affect the right to vote, the right to hold public office, the right to serve on a jury, the right to obtain a passport, the right to receive, possess, or transport a firearm, or the ability to obtain employment. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And do you understand that by pleading guilty to a felony, if you use, receive, possess, or transport a firearm, or use a firearm in a crime, you will be guilty of a felony which may carry a sentence up to 15 years to serve in prison?
Yes.
Do you understand that you waive any and all defenses, including any mental health defenses, by entering a plea of guilty today?
Yes.
And do you understand that if you went to trial, you would have certain rights, including the right to a trial by jury, the right to see, hear, and confront witnesses called to testify against you, and the right to testify or to remain silent and not incriminate yourself?
Yes.
And do you understand that by pleading guilty, you are giving up these following rights: the right to trial by jury, the right to remain silent and not incriminate yourself, the right to confront witnesses against you, the right to assistance of counsel hired by you or to court-appointed counsel if you cannot afford an attorney at a trial of your case, the right to the presumption of innocence, the right to testify on your behalf and to present other evidence, the right to subpoena witnesses and compel the production of evidence, the right to have the charges against you proved beyond a reasonable doubt, and the right to appeal if convicted of these charges after a trial. Do you understand that you are giving up all of those rights by pleading guilty today?
I understand.
And do you have a question about any of those rights that you are giving up?
Speak up so she can hear you.
My fault. You said what?
Do you have a question about any of those rights that you are giving up today?
No.
Has anyone forced, threatened, or promised you anything to get you to enter a guilty plea?
No.
And is it your decision to waive these rights and enter a guilty plea because you are in fact guilty?
Yes.
How do you plead to the charges of voluntary manslaughter, aggravated assault, possession of a firearm or knife, and that aggravated assault merges into voluntary manslaughter, possession of a firearm or knife during commission of or attempt to commit certain felonies, and criminal damage to property in the second degree? How do you plead to those charges today?
Plead guilty.
And is this guilty plea freely and voluntarily given with full knowledge of the charges against you?
Yes.
And do you understand you have 30 days from today in which to appeal your conviction based on your plea today?
Yes.
And do you also understand that you have 4 years from today to for a felony charge to file what is called a habeas corpus petition, which challenges the voluntariness of you entering this guilty plea today?
Yes.
Now, Your Honor, as far as a criminal history for Mr. Kolb, we do not have a felony criminal history for Mr. Kolb. As far as the circumstances that have led us here today, if we were to proceed to trial on Monday, the state would prove beyond a reasonable doubt that on June 2nd of 2022, around 6:14 p.m. in the evening, it was Joshua Kolb who fatally shot Joshua Roberts as he sat in the driver's seat of his 2016 Nissan Altima that he had rented near Building 24 of the Parks at Netherley, Netherley, apartment. And that was located at 6770 Buffington Road in Union City in Fulton County. There was a phone call that was received to Union City Police by Mr. Anthony Brown. It was there that he stated he saw a young unidentified male run past his patio window into the neighborhood next to his apartment. He noticed that that young male was wearing a red hooded sweatshirt and concealed his face. It was also another witness who was present at the Netherley or the Parks at Netherley apartments who spoke to lead detective Ashley Davis. It was Miss Dara, D-A-R-A, last name Folden, F-O-L-D-E-N. And she explained that she lived in building 19 of that same apartment complex. It was right after she heard a series of shots that she observed an unknown male, young black male, running extremely fast behind her building into the woods towards building number 1 of that same apartment complex. She noted to the detective that she noticed and observed that young male taking off a blue hoodie as he proceeded to run. The Nissan Altima that was driven by Mr. Roberts and ended up being his final resting place was processed by crime scene techs with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, as well as the Union City Police Department. And it was there that they found one rifle shell casing in the rear passenger side of the vehicle in the floor well. They also were able to pull a bloody latent fingerprint found on the inside upper door panel of the rear passenger side of that same vehicle. That fingerprint came back to Mr. Joshua Kolb, and the blood that was the basis of the fingerprint belonged to Mr. Roberts, as he was the only individual that was inside the vehicle with a gunshot wound. Detective Davis also found an iPhone belonging to Mr. Roberts inside of the vehicle. It was still unlocked at the time that they arrived on scene. They were able to process that red iPhone belonging to Mr. Roberts, and it showed that his last 2 calls right before the time of the homicide were to number 470-738-3873. When officers did a search of that phone number, it was registered to a Miss Tiffany Marsh. It was then that they found out that the son of Miss Tiffany Marsh was Mr. Joshua Kolb. This also in connection with the fingerprint is how officers were able to develop Mr. Kolb as a suspect. It was also at that time that they did a search of Mr. Kolb in their system and found footage belonging to a previous traffic stop involving Mr. Kolb. He was seen wearing a blue hoodie with a distinctive white design, which is eerily similar and nearly identical to the blue hoodie with a distinctive white design that was observed on the video of another neighbor, Miss Bonnie, Bonnie, last name Bankston, Bankston. Miss Bankston provided that video footage from her apartment, which was right above where the fatal shooting took place. It was at that point that you saw two individuals, one in a red hoodie going up to the driver's side door, one in a blue hoodie with distinctive white writing, carrying a very long bag and headed into the rear seat of the passenger side, which is where that rifle round was found and is consistent with the rifle shot to the back of Mr. Joshua Roberts. Your Honor, in looking at all of the evidence, multiple signs pointed to Mr. Kolb. He was later arrested on August 16th of 2022, at which time he voluntarily came into the Union City Police Department. He did not make a statement at that time, but the evidence is clear, which is why the state was prepared to proceed to trial in light of the fact that he does not have a criminal history and is taking responsibility for his actions. We have gotten to where we are today, where he's taken responsibility for the fatal shooting of Mr. Joshua Roberts. And also, I just want to address count number 5, which was tied to the damage from the gunshots to the 2015 red Chevrolet Impala of Miss Bonnie Bankston, who was the same individual who lived upstairs. And so, Your Honor, before we ask that you enter the total sentence of 30 years, we do have Mr. Roberts' mother, Miss Sheila Daly, on the Zoom. I know she would like to speak on behalf of Miss Daly.
Miss Daly, good morning. I'm very sorry for your loss. You have my highest and deepest sympathy. God bless you and your family. I'm very sorry for your loss. I'm happy to hear from you. Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You want to address
You
the
can
court?
proceed, Miss Daly. We'll turn it over to you.
Good morning, everyone. This has been a long time coming. I'm so sorry for the loss of my child and also Mr. Kolb's mother. We both lost a son, except that Mr. Kolb's mother can visit him. I had to forgive him, and I gotta love him because that's what God says. But I don't like him. But I don't wish no ill feeling on him. I ask God to protect him and that he repent and ask for forgiveness to God for murdering my son. It's been a hard, long road. I end up in the institution 3 times for chronic depression. I had to get ECT treatments over a 6-month period. I just thank God that I can hopefully get some rest and that this is behind us, the sentencing, such a senseless act. And I just thank God. I thank you for your help. I thank you for the court helping. And I just want to move forward best way I can with no hard feelings. It hurts like crazy, but what can I say? Thank God anyway. Justice has been served. In Jesus' name. Amen. I'm done.
Thank you so much, Ms.
Thank
Daly.
you, and I'm very sorry for your loss. And somebody taught me one time, said at some point in life, we have to look at life through the windshield and not the rearview mirror. And somebody else told me once that forgiveness is the eraser that erases a painful past. And I commend you for forgiving the defendant, but not forgetting. God bless you and your family.
Thank you.
And Your Honor, I just did want to acknowledge, every single time we have had this case on a calendar in front of Your Honor, there has been a very large network connected to Joshua Roberts, whether it be family, friends, a lot of individuals. He was originally from California, and a lot of them are not able to be here, but they are present on the live stream, and I did want to acknowledge them and let you know that they were present as they always
Thank you.
have been.
I'm very sorry for all of your loss. God bless you all. Sir, do you understand the nature of the charges against you? You understand all the rights you give up by entering this plea?
Yes.
You're giving up all those rights freely and voluntarily.
Yes.
Do you have any questions of your lawyer or of the court?
No.
And are you satisfied with his services? And I think you should be extremely satisfied because his hard work and diligence has ensured that someday you'll get out of prison. Are you satisfied with his services? Is counsel satisfied your client is competent?
Your Honor,
If you-
he's
Yes.
not leaning into the mic. I didn't hear anything.
Are you satisfied with his services?
Yes.
Counsel, are you satisfied your client is competent in understanding the plea is voluntary and there is a factual basis?
Yes, Your Honor.
I find the defendant is competent to enter the plea. I find the plea is voluntary. I will accept the plea and sentence as enunciated by the state and agreed to by the defense in the negotiated plea. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Walker. Always good to see you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Ms.
And Judge, I'd like to say on his behalf, his family was always here. His mother has been going through chronic depression as well. And so she was unable to make it today. But his fiance is here and his uncle was here early, but he had to go to work. So because we was late, they thought we would be at 9 o'clock, but due to the nature that I told them it probably wouldn't be here at 11 o'clock, they couldn't make it. But we thank the court for accepting the recommendation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Have a good weekend. Good to see everybody.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Joshua.